There is nothing stronger than having gratitude. It just lends itself to so many things, whether that's positivity, but also to purpose. It's so much easier to be intentional with your life if you have gratitude for it.
Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Pedraza, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, thanks for listening today. Today I have on the show Tori Johnson. Tori is the owner of Storibook, which is a PR agency in San Antonio, Texas, as well as a lifestyle blogger. Today we talk about her journey as an entrepreneur and the struggle that goes into finding that work-life balance when you're running your own business. We found that our common theme in this episode was all about living intentionally and practicing gratitude. I know we could all use a little inspiration in gathering more opportunities to show gratitude now. So enjoy this episode with my friend Tori. Okay, y'all, let's get going. I'm really excited to bring on Tori today. Me and Tori are going to talk about her journey as an entrepreneur, as a blogger, and just everything she's got going on in her life. So thank you so much for joining me today, Tori.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting and breaking up the days of quarantine.
Totally. Human interaction.
Yeah.
So for all the listeners out there, can you tell everybody a bit about your brand, Storibook, and what you're doing with that?
Sure. So my brand is a little bit different from many others. It started as a PR and marketing agency about 11 years ago. And at that time, I also simultaneously started my blog. So I have a little bit of a different concept here where I have a PR and marketing agency that has a blog tied to it. But really what we're doing is kind of striving to focus on bringing the digital mediums of PR and merging them with the traditional ones as well. And the blog is a little bit separate from that in terms of an outlet for women, other entrepreneurs, and all of us just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, totally. And where did you get your inspiration for your blog? Like, where did that come from?
Sure. So really, honestly, it started about 11 years ago. I was actually pregnant, and I had decided to leap off a cliff and start my own agency. Probably maybe not the best time to do it when you're pregnant,
Right.
But I did it anyways. And I was very blessed to have a husband who supported me. So I started my agency at that time. And then the blog, I really wanted to have an outlet to talk about my new journey as an entrepreneur, but also my journey as becoming a mother. I had family that lived overseas. And so this was my way to connect with them. And it started just a little bit about sharing my life, my faith, my beliefs. And really it kind of grew from there.
Yeah, because you've got quite the following now. Like, you've really grown this thing.
Oh, thank you. I like to say I have a wonderful community of like-minded individuals, primarily women, but there are some men out there as well. But I truly love my community. It's a wonderful outlet of creativity, but also for inspiration. That's one of the things as humans, we're called to be connected with one another. So it allows me to connect with others.
Yeah, absolutely. So then what was that jump like for you? Jumping from, you have, I guess, I'm assuming a corporate setting, mm-hmm. right? And then jumping on your own. And while you're pregnant.
Yes. Yeah. I can tell you it was very challenging. At the time, I was serving as vice president for a private PR agency out of Dallas, and I was running a wide variety of their national campaigns and running, different media campaigns across the country, and was not home that much. And really, I kind of realized that, I had a baby coming and I wanted to be a part of that child's life. And so we made the best decision for us. I was very blessed to have a client that wanted to start with me right from the beginning. They're still a client today.
Great.
Yes, 11 years later, they're still with me today. It's Lucy's Doggy Daycare and Spa. I talk about them all the time.
Oh, yeah, I know them.
Yes, they're wonderful. And so I was able to start my company and then really started building up from there, looking for other clients that we could benefit. I look for clients that, we're truly a partner. It becomes like a family. And then we've gradually been able to add some wonderful staff on and truly create a company that can provide everything all the way from design, public relations, marketing, social media management, you name it, we probably do it.
Yeah, that's incredible. So
Thank you.
how is I really hate the term work-life balance, but I'm going to use it. What is that work-life balance for you? Because you have the blog, you have a family, and you have your PR firm. So what does that look like? Like, how do you wear all the hats and put it all together?
Well, do you mean before coronavirus or
I know,
after?
right? I know. This is true.
To be honest, work-life balance is always a struggle. I can't admit to that. I will say one of the things when I founded my company is I wanted to provide opportunities for women and men and parents to really try to find an opportunity for work-life balance. So we do try to work on that and we value that. But, I can also, be completely honest with you as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner. It's a constant struggle. It's
Totally.
something I'm always trying to figure out. And I'll probably never figure out.
Yeah, I don't know if we will. Yeah.
And now I'm trying to be a homeschool teacher too.
Oh
so let's
add that to the
let's
list.
just throw that on there too. I've got this.
Oh my gosh, how is that going? That sounds like a nightmare. My kid is not in school, thank God. So he just gets to play all day. But
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that is a challenge as well. I have an 8-year-old who's in 3rd grade, and I also have a 4-year-old who's in pre-K. We're trying to get ready for kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
But my 8-year-old who's in 3rd grade, he's also in Spanish immersion. So for any moms out there who are, feeling crummy about having to homeschool, imagine if not only you had to learn how to homeschool, but you're having to also try to figure out how to do it in Spanish. And it's not your first language.
No. Well, I bet you're probably learning a little bit out of this, right? Are you picking up some Spanish?
Oh my goodness. I can tell you, like throughout the entire situation with COVID-19, I really have, I think all of us can say we have learned so much, whether it is how, to be a teacher and to appreciate teachers, but also just learning to value what's really the most important in life. I keep saying, and I think many of us have heard this before, it feels like God kind of hit the pause button.
Totally.
And I really feel that. It has given me a chance to pause, to prioritize, to spend time with my family, to be grateful and have gratitude. And also decide, once we go back to and resume what our lives were, we can probably make a lot of decisions on, what do we want to go back to? What do we want to resume?
Exactly. No, I think that's a really good point. I think that's a good lesson in all of this for sure. As I know a lot of us we don't really want to go back to exactly how things were before, right? I mean, we've had this appreciation on life. I think you're right. So how do you set boundaries for yourself and learning and to be able to prioritize you as well? I mean, self-care is important. So how do you set those boundaries?
That's a great question. I would say that in previous years, I have not been the best at saying no. Mm-hmm. And I found myself being very overwhelmed. I was running all over the city, going to, tons of events, was on a variety of boards. And, I have a lot of different things that I'm passionate about. And I really spread myself too thin where I couldn't focus on my family and, focus on building my company and such. And so really it's learning to say no. And it's hard because if you're like me, you kind of see everything as an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And it's really hard when, you see the potential for something to say no, but you really have to get yourself to focus on what are the things that you really value and what are your ultimate goals. But also in terms of self-care, which I do believe is important as well. Like they say, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Exactly.
And so I try to do things like working out. I know that's something that's really important to you. So working out, taking time to, maybe go get a little facial, get outside, read a good book, take a good bubble bath, and, really take time to be grateful in those moments as well.
Yeah, for sure. So how have you stayed focus? Like, where does your drive and your passion, your inspiration come from? Is that just something that's like innate in you? Is it something that's developed over time?
I think I have way too much drive. I definitely have, I think I inherited this. I definitely inherit a strong work ethic from both of my parents, my mother as well as my father, very strong in their own careers. So I've had them to look up to. Sometimes I wish I had a little less drive.
Right. I feel like
that makes sense.
I know, it totally does. I feel you on that. Calm down. I tell myself that, like, calm down.
Yes, just calm down.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. But, you just have to kind of focus that drive. And as I've gotten older and continue to get older, I've learned how to focus that better. And, some things that I used to focus on, I don't focus on as much anymore. And that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about, you had a health scare not too long ago and kind of the lessons you gleaned from that. Can you tell us what happened with that?
Sure. Well, thank you for asking on that. I will say that was my health has not been the best in the past. I'm very grateful to be doing very well now, but I've always had some heart issues. And right after college, I got my first pacemaker.
Oh, wow.
And during some heart procedures following that, they found that I had a hole in my heart. And so I knew I had a hole. And sure enough, about 4 years ago, I was at home alone with my boys and knew I was having a stroke.
Oh my God.
So it was a very scary time, but luckily I had doctors that because of the hole in my heart, they had told me the possibility of stroke. So they had prepared me. So I knew what was happening and I had God by me the whole time. And, there was a lot of challenges that came from having the stroke. And then I did have a subsequent surgery from there to cover that hole in my heart and went to Houston for an implant for that. But it really has changed I think it's changed who I am as a person and the way I look at life. I think it probably also contributed to that drive that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like God has a purpose for me, and I'm very grateful to, one, have survived it, but two, to be able to even have a full conversation with here today and, was able to heal from the effects that came from that stroke that I did suffer with for a time. So it just changes your mentality a little bit and how you look at life.
Yeah. What was that recovery like? How long was that? Well, what did that entail? Because I'm assuming it would have been a process, right?
Yes, it was a big process because first when I had the stroke, I did face some things such as aphasia where it was very hard for me to speak. I went through some struggles of went through therapy and things to assist with that. I actually had a friend who was a therapist who helped me through that time. And then subsequently, we talked about obviously the surgery, and that was a hard recovery after that closure. And, you just press on through, and there's always somebody who's going through something much worse than you. This is a perfect time. We're all going through a really hard time right now. And we have to I know I keep talking about gratitude, but it really is something that's important to me. I say like having an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something we all kind of need to embrace right now. And when times when we're having struggles, whether that's health or marriage or children or anything going on in life.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. So with you were talked about having your purpose and like kind of, I guess, discovering your purpose. And I talk a lot about that on this podcast. And so what was, and I'm sure this started well before your stroke, but how did you what was kind of your journey to find your purpose? Like, was it something you found when you were in school? How did that purpose reveal itself to you?
I wouldn't say that I have completely found my purpose. I think that's something that I'm, always praying to be revealed to me. And it's something that I'm always trying to access. And sometimes it's hard to pinpoint what is our purpose in life. It's such a huge question.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will say, it's just continuing to evolve. It's not something that I would say I have found at any point in time. It's not something I can say I had a stroke and my light bulb went off and I now know exactly what my purpose is in life. I truly don't know, but I am constantly seeking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you find helps you the most? Like, what inspires you? What gives you the inspiration that you need to find that?
Well, obviously you can tell I'm really strong in my faith. So turning to God's word is obviously very inspirational to me, but also others. I'm blessed with an incredible best friend who you know, my friend Akila. She inspires me on a daily basis. We turn to each other constantly. My family, my husband is the foundation of our family, and I turn to him so much as well for advice and for someone who has a completely opposite side of the brain than I do and helps give me perspective. It's others. It's really looking at others looking for that source of inspiration in others. I love that. I love connecting with people, and obviously you do as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what life's about, right? It's connecting and helping out each other everybody has their own separate path. We're supposed to help each other on that path, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have anything that you do to kind of help with your mindset? Because like to stay focused, do you have any tricks or tips? Or you are strong in your faith, so I'm sure prayer has a lot to do with it. But how do you keep your mindset? Because I'm sure you have days just like everybody where it's like your mind is not in it and you're like this day sucks and I can't get out. Like what do you do to keep your mindset where it needs to be?
That, it is so true. I'm obviously, when we're having an interview and I can tell you about all those positivity and how I've done so good at, X, Y, Z. Right. But I can tell you, like, there are days where I have hit rock bottom and I'm in a bad place. And it's good to admit that too. And so in terms of things that I do, obviously prayer, my devotionals are my biggest help. Two, journaling, obviously blogging. If you don't have a blog, just get out a piece of paper and write. Sometimes you just need a word dump. You just need to get it all out, and then you can feel better.
Cathartic.
The same thing of, working out, even just going for a walk and getting some fresh air and stepping away helps kind of rebalance all of your thoughts. I'm also a big fan of Erin Condren's planners. And for me, planning really kind of gives me that sense of focus. And also, like, in times like this, it gives me a little sense of control. So maybe I have this much control when everything is so uncertain right now.
Sure.
So planning can really help with that because it serves a little bit as journaling. And I keep looking over here because I literally have my Erin Condren planner sitting next to me right now.
Tell everybody where they can find that, because I don't have one myself, and I hear about this all the time.
Oh my goodness. So, disclaimer, they are a client of mine, but I would tell you about them even if they weren't a client. But this is my Erin Condren life planner, and it literally plans out my entire life, from my children's schedules to my crazy work schedule to even documenting my husband's travel schedule. It's everything.
Yeah.
But it also has areas where you can write notes. Again, those times that I mentioned on journaling. It's filled with inspirational quotes.
Yeah.
So you can see this one here.
Yeah.
Passion and purpose give you progress.
I love it.
So it's really just a little piece of happy and control in my life that I love. And that's something that serves me personally as well as professionally. Yeah. So I think that's a good tip for everybody.
No, I love that. That is a good tip. Spell that out, because I want to put that, I'll put it in the show notes, but how do you spell that?
So this is Erin Condren is brand, and it's ERIN, and Condren is CONDREN. And I'll send you a link.
Yeah. Perfect. I love that in the show notes. That's a great tip. I love that. I love tips like that. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I do have one more question, but where can everyone find you and kind of follow you on your journey, follow your blog and everything you're doing with that?
Oh, well, it's not hard to find me. So my blog is obviously thestoribook.com, and Story is spelled just like Tori, Tori, and I'm sure you'll link that below.
For sure.
I'm also on Instagram and Facebook under the same, the Storibook. And so it's pretty easy to find me. I'm always happy to chat with everyone and share a little bit of the stories going on in my life. I'm lucky that my name lends itself well to a blog name.
I mean, your branding is on point.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I like to finish with the same question for everybody. What do you think is the most important change people can make, or the most important thing they can do to live with purpose?
To live with purpose. I think, again, I feel like, our overall theme of this podcast has revealed itself. And I will say gratitude again. I mean, there is nothing stronger than having gratitude. It just lends itself to so many things, whether that's positivity, but also to purpose. It's so much easier to be intentional with your life if you have gratitude for it. And making time for that. You can't be intentional and you can't have purpose if you don't allow yourself time to.
Yeah, no, I cannot agree more. I had another interview the other day and we were talking about this, and we were talking about like gratitude and meditation, all that. And I feel like that's been like the theme for me and my husband both, because I've kind of got him into it, and we've started, practicing more gratitude. And yeah, I mean, it really does make a difference. And intentional is a great word that you use, living more intentionally. I love that.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tori, for sharing a little bit about you. And I'm excited to have everyone kind of jump in on your blog and follow your journey as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It was such an honor, and wishing you all and everybody listening the best. I know we're all going through a really tough time right now, but we're going to get through this together.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Tori.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I love to know what you find useful in these episodes, so I know how I can provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics that you want to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's @TheHopePedraza, or visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.